What's good, people? I'm back, and today I will be discussing my picks and predictions for UFC 328. Now, let me just start off by saying this card might be one of the best cards of the year. The best card of the year so far. The beef between Khamzat and Chimaev is just, gets me invested into the fight so much. I'm so excited for that. Joshua Wen versus Tatsuro Taira. My boy Tatsuro Taira is fighting. If Tatsuro Taira loses or gets slimed out horribly, you ain't seeing a reaction video, bro. You will not be seeing a reaction video. You will never see me again. It's fucking 4 in the morning. Let's just get this over with, dude. I really couldn't give less of a shit. I thought about my picks for a while, but I didn't really do much tape study and whatnot for this card. So I'll just be going off the top of my head, and I'll be bullshitting for most of this card, so don't take my picks too seriously. But I have thought about this card for a little bit. So yeah, let's just start off. Starting off with the prelims, the first fight on the prelims, we have Clayton Carpenter versus Jose Ochoa. Now this fight is actually way closer than it seems at first, because a lot of people are picking Ochoa. Most of the people are picking Ochoa, but there is a very real chance that Clayton Carpenter wins. It's just I just can't fucking pick Clayton Carpenter, dude. For it's just he's not that good. Okay, so Clayton Carpenter, he's a wrestler. He smudges you with his takedowns. Decent striker. Jose Ochoa, he's a knockout artist. Decent grappling. Now it's just a matter of which skill gap is bigger. So I don't know what the fuck to break down in this fight. Jose Ochoa got submitted from bottom. Like when he was on top, he got submitted by a fucking Kimura by Jafar Filo, which is concerning because Jafar Filo lost to Cody Durden pretty horribly. Yeah, dude, I don't know. Clayton Carpenter's grappling might be a bit overrated, and Jose Ochoa did decent against Asul Mabayev. Let's just say it like it is. He got absolutely destroyed by Asul Mabayev, but I think Clayton Carpenter and Asul Mabayev are two different people, bro. Like, Jose Ochoa has fought wrestlers before, people who like to impose their grappling, and his only losses are Lonnie Kavanagh and Asul Mabayev. He's fought Cody Durden. Cody Durden took him down twice though, but he did get right back up. So I think Jose Ochoa wins this fight by decision. I don't know what else I could break down. I really couldn't give a shit about this fight. Next fight we have Baisangur Susurkaev versus Jordan Santos. Or Jordan Santos, however you pronounce it. I just call him Jordan Santos because it sounds cool. Like the Jordan Santos. Anyways, Baisangur Susurkaev, if you guys don't remember, he fought on Contender Series. Then a week later fought Eric Nolan in the UFC on short notice. First round was pretty close. Second round he came back, submitted Nolan. He slept Eric McConaughey up very bad, like very horribly, which in hindsight, like afterwards, has aged pretty well. The Jordan Santos, though, at first I thought this guy was just a random Brazilian that just is there in the UFC, but his record is 11-2. His fight with Ozzy Diaz was kind of close. He has some decent wins, but losing to Ozzy Diaz, Baisangur Susurkaev is a knockout artist. You are going to a very close decision with Ozzy Diaz and losing. Baisangur Susurkaev is gonna slime you out. And it's not just that Baisangur Susurkaev has so much better striking than the Jordan Santos, and the fact that the Jordan Santos got schooled by fucking Ozzy Diaz of all people, who we will get to in a minute, is the fact that Baisangur Susurkaev has grappling. So the Jordan Santos is striking. We might be underrating it a bit, but obviously Susurkaev has more power, and I would say he's the more cleaner striker of the two. The Jordan Santos does get hit a lot more than he should considering his fighting style, but It is what it is. Hold on. It is what it is. I think Baisangar Susurkaev should win this by round 2 TKO. Maybe like he just straight up slimes out DeJordan Santos. At first I thought DeJordan Santos was kind of big too. He's only 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. Susurkaev is longer, taller. I think Susurkaev got this in the bag. So I think Susurkaev should TKO DeJordan Santos in the second round. Either by like just a straight up knockdown, or maybe he just takes him down and lands ground and pound. Next fight, we have Pat Sabatino versus William Gomis, this random fucking French guy. William Gomis, dude, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. William Gomis, I thought he was actually pretty decent before I took a look at his record. Because if you go on his topology page, you look at his record, you see he's fought random bumps. He has a couple losses early on. One of them is to Morgan Charrier, which decent. But let's take a look at his wins. 0-1, 3-2, 14-10, 11-6, 17-19-2, 17-28, 9-1. Okay, that's decent. 7-3, whatever. 6-1, decent. 11-5, decent. Then he gets into the UFC. He fights fucking Jarno Aarons and wins by fucking majority decision. Francis Marshall wins by majority decision. Yanis Gamori, body kick, TKO, whatever. Joe Anderson Burrito split decision. Haider Amil split decision. Can this motherfucker not win a fight normally? He beat Robert Ruhala by unanimous decision, but what the fuck is this guy doing? I thought he would have some finishes, considering he has a body kick TKO. But he just doesn't have finishing ability whatsoever, dude. And it's not like, can this motherfucker not be in close fights? Even his fight with Robert Ruhala was decently close, and Robert Ruhala just got pieced up in his last fight afterwards. So that's not aging well either. Haider Amil is not that good, and you lost a split decision to him. I don't even care if you lost. Even if you would have won a split decision against Haider Amil, that would have been horrible. Because at the time Haider Amil was 10-0. Haider Amil got knocked the fuck out by Jose Delgado, and afterwards got schooled by fucking Jamal Emmers of all people. Went to a split decision with Joe Anderson Burrito, which I think most people agree that Joe Anderson Burrito won that fight. It's pretty split actually. I really couldn't give less of a shit, but the problem is you're going to a split decision with Joe Anderson Burrito, but I think people are kind of underrating Joe Anderson Burrito. Joe Anderson Burrito is very underrated because he lost to Pat Sabatini as well, but this guy beat fucking Diego Lopez on the Contender Series, dude. He beat Chepe Mariscal as well, so he might actually be decent. But Joe Anderson Burrito, I don't know, man. This guy, how can a person be so shit and so good at the same time? You know what I mean? Yanis Gamori, he was 12-1 at the time. He's 13-4. He's not even in the UFC. Francis Marshall, split decision. And Francis Marshall has gotten much better since then. But Francis Marshall also got in on a couple takedowns in that fight as well. Jarno Aarons, once again, fucking majority decision. So one judge scored it a draw. This guy cannot win a fucking proper decision for the life of him. But the reason I will be picking Pat Sabatini is William Gomis has been taken down consistently. His takedown defense hasn't held up. And also Joe Anderson Burrito, he went to a split decision with Burrito. Burrito got 30-26 by Pat Sabatini. Pat Sabatini also in his last fight looked fucking incredible against Chepe Mariscal, who was undefeated in the UFC at that time. And Chepe Mariscal is actually pretty underrated. And he comes from this extensive grappling background, and I think the range of William Gomis will give him problems at first because Gomis is 6 foot with a 73-inch reach. But that's the problem, because you're fighting at fucking featherweight. You're gonna lose a lot of girth. You're gonna lose a lot of strength. You're gonna be at a strength disadvantage, and against a grappler, that's not a good thing. And William Gomis, he isn't that good either. But I'll be picking my boy Pat Sabatini. I think Unk should get this done. Next fight we have Roman Kopylov versus Marco Tulio. I was gonna make fun of Roman Kopylov for getting schooled by Paulo Costa, but in hindsight, maybe that wasn't so bad. At least he didn't get head kick knocked out. But Marco Tulio, he's coming off a very horrible loss. He got slimed out by Christian Leroy Duncan, who is now ranked, who just beat who's the guy? The fucking guy who lost to Anthony Hernandez. Roman Dolly Diaz. He just beat Roman Dolly Diaz. Marco Tulio, he's one of the shooter box fighters, and I'm really scared for him, man, because Roman Kopylov actually might be decent. There's just one fucking problem. He lost a UD to Gregory Rodriguez, which he just looked dog shit in. Gregory Rodriguez, in matter of fact, looked dog shit in, but that's just what Roman Kopylov does. He makes everyone look dog shit together, like he'll look horrible and he'll make you look like you're a horrible fighter as well at the same time. He went to war with Chris Curtis and knocked him out in and got a buzzer beater KO. Went to a split decision with Cesar Almeida, which Cesar Almeida is good, but who are we fucking kidding? Cesar Almeida is not that good either. He got submitted by fucking Carl Robertson. Lost a decision to fucking a random guy. He has a couple of decent wins. Got schooled by Hernandez. Other than that, he's beaten some random bums. Dude, he just hasn't looked that good lately. And Marco Tulio's striking is more polished. And Tulio, I understand he got slimed out by Christian Leroy Duncan very horribly. But I think we are gonna see a comeback. There isn't a single decent win on Roman Kopylov's record. At least I can look at Marco Tulio and say at least the Trayshawn Gore win was decent, considering everything. And before that, he only had one loss in fucking 2018. So I think he should get this done by, I don't know, maybe like a round 1 TKO. I'll pick Marco Tulio by round 2 TKO. I think he should get this done by TKO of some sort. I don't think Roman Kopylov will be like completely unconscious. I think Marco Tulio will just beat the shit out of him somehow. It will be close before Marco Tulio finishes the fight. I'll tell you that much. Maybe Marco Tulio might even be losing. But Marco Tulio is from shooter box. When it comes to like shooter box fighters, I can kind of tell nowadays what kind of fighters they're going to beat. Roman Kopylov seems like a very hard fight, but I think Marco Tulio should get this done. Next fight, we have Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon, the battle of the unks. Whoever wins this is the final unk remaining. But yeah, dude, I think Jared Gordon should get a unanimous decision win over Jim Miller. Because Jim Miller's striking hasn't looked that good. His grappling was very good, but getting submitted by Chase Hooper, that actually might not be that bad considering Chase Hooper's grappling is very good. But Jim Miller, man, he just hasn't looked the same. He's 42 years old. He got unanimous decision by King Green. He has a couple decent wins now as well. But Jared Gordon, he lost to Rafa Garcia, which in hindsight, considering everything, Rafa Garcia just put a masterclass on Alexander Hernandez. So, say what you will, dude. But he did look pretty horrible against Rafa Garcia, though. He went to a split decision with Hackprest. He beat Thiago Moises, knocked him out. Mark Madsen knocked him out. He lost to Pimlet and all that. But I don't think Jim Miller is a good enough grappler to take. And Jared Gordon didn't lose to Pimlet, okay? Jared Gordon beat Pimlet. I think the skill gap between their boxing and the straight up all around grappling is much bigger, So I think Jared Gordon should get this one by unanimous decision. Yeah, where was I? Jim Miller versus Jared Gordon. I think I forgot to give my pick for what was it? William Gomez versus Pat Sabatini. I'm picking Sabatini by decision. So yeah, I think I forgot to say that, but yeah, whatever. If I didn't, I'll just cut that out. So let's move on to the next fight. We have Grant Dawson versus Mateusz Ranwicki. This card is looking fucking crazy, dude. Like, there's so many fighters. Like, it isn't just filled with random bumps. Even the prelims, like Jose Ochoa is a very decent prospect. Susurkaev is a very good prospect. Pat Sabatini and William Gomis, Marco Tulio, very good prospect. Dawson Rebecki. This fight has the potential to be fight of the year worthy. Or Grant Dawson is just gonna sit on top of Mateusz Rebecki. And the fights after this are all filled with big names as well. So let's talk about this fight for a little bit. Mateusz Rebecki was getting schooled in the striking by Ludovic Klein. So his striking is a bit overrated. I'll say that much. He does have a very good record, like before the UFC. He did get TKO'd by fucking Diego Ferreira. He did go to a split decision in Magdeburg Oral-by. The Magdeburg Oral-by fight showed me something. His striking is a bit overrated. It's definitely better than Grant Dawson. But Magdeburg Oral-by was able to get in on takedowns and beat the shit out of him pretty consistently. And I think Grant Dawson... See, this is exactly how it works. See, if Grant Dawson is not ranked, or if he's not if he's not ranked, and his ranking is not on the line, or he's not fighting a ranked guy, he's gonna win. But as soon as he gets to this is just what happens with Grant Dawson. This is how you gotta pick Grant Dawson fights. He was about to be in the rankings, get slimed out by Bobby Green. He just got ranked. He was about to defend his place in the rankings, got slammed out by Manuel Torres. But now he's not ranked. He's fighting down in the division instead of fighting up. So when he gets to that around the bottom ranking, like the bottom top 15 spot, that's when you start to question everything. But before that, I think he should get this one by decision, just by a straight up wrestling heavy decision. I do think Mateusz Rebecki will have some good moments in the fight, maybe even take a round, but I think Grant Dawson should win this by decision. Next fight we have Joel Alvarez versus Yaroslav Amosov. Now, I do have a problem with picking only favorites. It happens a lot on when I make picks. I end up picking a lot of favorites to win. So instead we'll be changing it up a little bit, and I'll be picking Joel Alvarez, who is the underdog. Now, I thought this fight would be near even going into it, but right now Joel Alvarez is a slight underdog. My reasoning is, first off, Yaroslav Amosov is a bit small for 170. He did look pretty big against Neil Magny, but it says he's 5'11". Either that's wrong or Neil Magny is shorter than I thought. But, Joel Alvarez, he's not 6'3", he's 6'2" at most. He does have a longer reach than Yaroslav Amosov, definitely. It's just both of these guys come from a jiu-jitsu background. It's just that Joel Alvarez has switched over to striking a little bit more, whereas Yaroslav Amosov playing jiu-jitsu is definitely better than Joel Alvarez. If him and Joel Alvarez were in a jiu-jitsu match, he would beat Joel Alvarez every single day of the week. The wrestling is a bit concerning. The wrestling, I would give it to Yaroslav Amosov as well, but it's just that stylistically, Joel Alvarez should win this on the feet. The thing is, if you can't get the takedowns, or even if you do get the takedowns but you can't do anything with them, or your opponent just gets right back up, you're fucked. Joel Alvarez is definitely a better striker than Yaroslav Amosov. For one, I haven't seen Yaroslav Amosov's fight. I've never seen him actually strike with anyone. I saw him fight Neil Magny. He didn't really strike with Neil Magny. He just took him down and submitted him. I took a look at his record. Most of his wins are by decision and submissions. So, he has 2 TKOs on his record, I think. 3 TKOs on his record. So, I don't know, man. Joel Alvarez is a better striker than Yaroslav Amosov. And also Yaroslav Amosov, he's coming over from fucking Bellator, dude. You know how I feel about these Bellator fighters. Before that, he was in some random ass fighting league. You know how I feel about these Bellator fighters. You know the competition they face in Bellator. But Yaroslav Amosov is actually pretty good. He's 29-1. But I think Joel Alvarez is gonna win this one by unanimous decision. Just by outstriking Yaroslav Amosov. And it's just Yaroslav Amosov won't be able to submit or do much anything offensively against Joel Alvarez, because his jiu-jitsu is actually pretty decent. He does have a jiu-jitsu base. People forget, man, he got grapple fucked by Sarukian, but Listen, if Yaroslav Amosov was able to fight at 155, he would get grapple fucked horribly by Arman Sarukian as well. It's just a matter of it will be pretty close, but I think Joel Alvarez should win a pretty close decision just based on damage and outstriking Yaroslav Amosov, and the grappling will be pretty matched. It will definitely be leaning towards Amosov, but it it will be hard for Amosov to pull off anything like substantial. Like Joel Alvarez will do more with his striking than Yaroslav will be able to do with his grappling. Let's just move on to the next fight. Headlining the prelims, final fight on the prelim. We got Ateba Gautier versus Aussie Diaz. Is it just me, or does anyone else feel like a Aussie Diaz masterclass incoming? An Aussie Diaz fraud check incoming? Is it just me? Okay, it is just me. But I will be picking Ateba Gautier by round 1 TKO. Like, he is decent. He's only he lost in 2018 to a random guy, but in recent memory, Aussie Diaz only has 2 losses. One of them is to Joe Pyfer. He got slammed out by Joe Pyfer. The other one is to Zhang Bingyang, which was at 205. So he got slammed out by Zhang Bingyang as well. He beat DeJordan Santos, which whatever. He beat Chuck Campbell. He beat Bivon Lewis. Random bombs. I couldn't give less of a shit about these guys. Aussie Diaz is about to get knocked the fuck out. Ateba Gautier, people kind of look at him after his last fight as if he fucked up. Like he got fraud checked. He won the fucking fight. Hold on. Let me pull up stats real quick. Ateba Gautier got 2 knockdowns against Andre Pulev, which is just wrong. He definitely got more than that. But people are fucking forgetting, man. Andre Pulev beat Nick Klein and Liam Anderson. No, but Andre Pulev went to like a decision with Christian Leroy Duncan, where he got absolutely schooled horribly. He got like 30-27, pretty horribly. 30-26 even. You could make an argument for that. But he was able to survive that. And Ateba Gautier nearly finished Andre Pulev like fucking 4 times in that fight. And that shit was a 30-27 clear, 30-27. No, I think Ateba Gautier did lose the first round. But I think he should, it will be like a bounce back win where everybody's like, oh, he's not that good and all that. And then he just comes back and slimes out Aussie Diaz as we expected him to before the Andre Pulev fight. And then everybody's gonna be back on the hype train of Ateba Gautier. I don't even want to break this fight down. I fucking went back and watched Aussie Diaz versus DeJordan Santos for this shit. The type of shit that I do to get my picks right is fucking, what the fuck, dude? I'm having to go back and watch Aussie Diaz versus DeJordan Santos to pick him just to pick Ateba Gautier to slime him out. Yeah, next fight we have Bobby Queen Green versus Jeremy Stevens. I think Bobby King Green should get this done by unanimous decision, just by straight up outstriking him. I didn't really consider Jeremy Stevens' grappling, which, to be honest, Jeremy Stevens' grappling is not all that. He is coming back to the UFC. He's somehow as old as King Green. Dude. It's just gonna be like a complete masterclass from Bobby Green. Like a 30-27 masterclass from Bobby Green, where he's just on the outside landing his jab, landing his leg kick. Boom, boom. 1-2. He's gonna drop pull counters on Jeremy Stevens. It's gonna look horrible. I'm not sure if I'll pick him by finish. Bobby Green does have decent power, but I think Jeremy Stevens probably won't get knocked out. He's not a complete fraud, So I think, I don't think Jeremy Stevens will try to implement his grappling that much either. Even if he tries, I don't think he'll be able to pull it off. So I think Bobby Green should get this done by unanimous decision. Next fight on the main card. Now, these last 4 fights I can actually break down, and I'm actually really hyped for this. I'm actually hyped for most of the card, but this is something I can actually break down, where I've dived deeper into the stylistic matchup themselves instead of just trying to do MMA math. So the next fight, we have Sean Brady versus Gautier Buckley. Now, Gautier Buckley, he has a much longer reach than Sean Brady. They're both the same height. He has girth, which will help him against Sean Brady. He's like a big guy for 170, which will help him against Sean Brady. There's just one fucking problem though. How am I supposed to pick Joaquin Buckley after that performance against Kamaru Usman? Fuck, dude. I understand Usman gave Khamzat a run for his money, but that was because Khamzat gassed out. Not because he's skill-wise that much better than Khamzat. You know, he got backpacked for entirety of round 1. I'm sorry, man. I just can't, like, are we forgetting that Usman lost to Leon Edwards twice? Like, the second fight, it wasn't even like a fluke. It was actually like he just straight up just lost a decision. Are we forgetting that? Joaquin Buckley, like, just record-wise, his record isn't that great. You know, he beat fucking Colby Covington by doctor stoppage. He beat Stephen Thompson, which, you know, is actually decent. He beat Rosie Boyer, which, decent. He beat Vicente Luque by fucking ground and pound, which is decent. Alex Murano, I'm not even gonna talk about that. Andre Fialho, I'm not even gonna talk about that. He lost to fucking Chris Curtis. He got TKO'd by Chris Curtis, which is horrible. He got UD'd by Nasruddin Imavov. You know, he was small for middleweight to begin with. But, you know, such a massive hole in his grappling has been opened. But I will say, comparing Sean Brady to Kamaru Usman isn't really fair, because Kamaru Usman is a better wrestler than Sean Brady, not by a long shot, but he's definitely a better wrestler. Joaquin, the striking, I would put those guys in the same realm. Sean Brady, he got TKO'd by Michael Morales pretty horribly in the first round, but people forget, man. Sean Brady, man. Like, Michael Morales is actually pretty good. So, I think there's no shame in being slimed out by fucking Michael Morales. Michael Morales, the straight up power Michael Morales has is just fucking incredible, dude. Yeah, I don't think, in hindsight, I should have picked Michael Morales. Because Michael Morales, people don't really understand this about Michael Morales. They just think of him as a knockout artist. His grappling is actually legit. You know, he comes from a judo background. It's hard to take him down. I'm not so sure about his jiu-jitsu. His jiu-jitsu might be completely fraudulent, but at least his wrestling for the most part is semi-decent. And the way Michael Morales fought Sean Brady, if I knew Michael Morales was gonna pull that shit, I would have never picked Sean Brady in the first place. Because Michael Morales is so long and he's so rangy and he has such a long reach. What he did was he fought in a crouched stance. Like, he pretty much crouched down. Like, he pretty much bent over, put his hips back, put his head forward. So Sean Brady's whole wrestling game just flew out the door. You know, it just got thrown out. Sean Brady just couldn't wrestle. There was no shot he was gonna be able to wrestle with Michael Morales if Michael Morales pulled that stance with, considering how long he is and how much power he has. It just wasn't gonna happen. Like, Leon Edwards, I didn't watch Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady, but the striking wasn't like lopsided. I mean, Sean Brady controlled Leon Edwards for the most part, but I think it will be pretty hard for him to take down Joaquin Buckley, and Joaquin Buckley's striking is definitely better than Sean Brady. I think the more I think about this fight, the more I get scared for Sean Brady. But I think Sean Brady should get this done in the second round by submission. Now, here's the thought process behind that, right? Hear me out, okay? Sean Brady, he's probably gonna be, like, down a round. Like, he's probably gonna lose the first round. Joaquin Buckley will defend the takedowns fairly well. Maybe Sean Brady will get the takedown late in the round after getting outstruck horribly. Or maybe he'll win the first round barely, but it will be close. It will definitely be close. And then second round, it's the fact that Sean Brady, when you compare him to a guy like Kamaru Usman, he's not as good of a wrestler as Usman is. He's definitely a good wrestler. He definitely has the ability to take down. He definitely has the ability to take down Joaquin Buckley, but he's not as good of a wrestler as somebody like Kamaru Usman. But his jiu-jitsu is just so much better than Kamaru Usman. So once it does get to the ground, Joaquin Buckley's cooked. And I think he's about to get submitted after he gets taken down by like a head and arm choke. Maybe even a mounted guillotine. Fuck it. Like, maybe even he gives up his back and Sean Brady just submits him. Or maybe Sean Brady like takes an arm and like goes to full mount or like goes to side control and drops like a Kimura or Americana or something. Anything. I think Sean Brady will get this done in round 2 by submission. Next fight, we have Alexander Volkov versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. I really wanted to pick Waldo Cortes-Acosta, but man, hold on. Let me just. I'm gonna flip a coin. If it lands on heads, I'll pick Waldo Cortes-Acosta. It landed on fucking tails. I'll be picking Volkov by decision. I think Alexander Volkov. Like Alexander Volkov is the pick to make. There's no doubt about it. Like if you're picking Waldo Cortes-Acosta, it's probably gonna be by like Waldo Cortes-Acosta gets outstruck, but his chin is probably gonna hold up much like very good. I really hope Waldo Cortes-Acosta wins this though because I'm a big fan of my Dominican papi, and I really want him to win, but I just don't think he got this, bro. I think it's gonna be a tough fight for him. I think Volkov should, outstrike him. Should stay on the outside, and the grappling. I would give it honestly. I would say Volkov is a better grappler than Waldo Cortes-Acosta. Maybe like from what I've seen yet from till now, I think he's a better grappler than Acosta. I think Alexander Volkov should be able to use his range. And Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he's really he's a very good striker. He's a knockout artist, but technically speaking, there's levels to this shit. Like if you watch the Sergey Pavlovich fight, you'll understand. Like after watching the Sergey Pavlovich fight, after seeing what happened in that fight, how do you logically pick Waldo Cortes-Acosta? Like I understand that he's on a nice little winning streak now. You know, the Sergey Pavlovich fight happened, and after that he's on a nice little 3-fight knockout streak. But and he absolutely embarrassed Derek Lewis. But those guys aren't that impressive of wins. And Ante Delia, he's not that impressive. Sergey Spivak was able to take him down. So I think Alexander Volkov should win this fight by decision. Next fight, now this is actually great. I'll be picking my boy Tatsuro Taira. There's like, dude, even if you told me like, oh, Tatsuro Taira, dude, stylistically doesn't match up well, I would still pick Tatsuro Taira. Now there's a lot of holes in Joshua Van's game. Joshua Van against Race Roya did get grapple fucked a bit, but I think people sort of overrate just how good his takedown defense is. His takedown defense is not all that. It's mostly because he's so strong and he's so girthy, and I think we're gonna see something from Taira that's gonna be different. Taira against Brandon Royval kind of fucked it up and gassed out, but I think we're gonna see a Tatsuro Taira round 3 submission. Mark my words, I think it will be pretty close. Like Joshua Van will be winning on the feet, and Tatsuro Taira will have a pretty hard time getting to his hips and trying to take him down. But I think there will be moments where he will take him down and Joshua Van will get back up. But in round 3, or whenever he the submission kick comes in, right? This is how it's gonna go. He's gonna get into the clinch. He's gonna do like an upper body throw or like a sweep or like a takedown or takedown of some sort, and then he's gonna take him down. He's gonna pass his guard. He's gonna pass Joshua Van's guard, and then he's gonna probably take his back and sink in a rear naked choke. That's just how I see this fight going. Like people kind of underrate Tatsuro Taira's striking as well, and he's improved a lot since the Royval fight. Like if you see him against Brandon Moreno and if you see him against Royval, there's a clear difference. Like you can see the difference. I was watching MMA Shay's live stream, and Tatsuro Taira uses feints and is striking a lot better. And his straight right that he has is a fucking problem. And I think Tatsuro Taira has a very he's not like a leg kick merchant, but he has a decent leg kick, and he should use the leg kick very effectively against somebody like Joshua Van, unless he's just completely gonna throw the game plan out the window. But I think he should be able to, he'll struggle on the field. The thing is, if you wanna do that, like, if you have to outstrike Tatsuro Taira for like 5 rounds straight, that means you need to have very good takedown defense, and you need to be a very good grappler. That's just not what Joshua Van is. Now, Joshua Van and Brandon Moreno, they're pretty much like, they have very similar styles. Both of them are boxers. The only difference being Joshua Van pressures the shit out of you, which will make getting takedowns harder for Tatsuro Taira. But I think Tatsuro Taira should be able to get a takedown at some point in the fight and be able to control Joshua Van as fast and take his back at some point, because once it gets to the ground, it's just not gonna be close. Like Joshua Van's jiu-jitsu is not to the level of somebody like Tatsuro Taira. When have you last seen somebody grapple fuck Moreno that horribly? The only reason Tatsuro Taira, the grappling between Taira and Royval was close. The only reason that was close was because Taira gassed out horribly. And I don't think Taira is gonna gas out that badly now. And I don't think he's gonna need a gas tank for this fight anyways. He's probably gonna submit Joshua Van at some point. There's definitely a clear way for Joshua Van to win this, but man, the momentum is not looking good for Joshua Van. For one, Brandon Royval didn't grapple with him. He hasn't fought a good grappler in so fucking long. He fought Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva was able to get in on takedowns against him. I remember that Bruno Silva hit a crazy outside sweep on him. Bruno Silva, I think in judo it's called Deashi Harai. He hit a Deashi Harai on Joshua Van. He took down Joshua Van once. Ray Surya took down Joshua Van 4 times. Cody Durden took down Joshua Van 2 times. Edgar Chairez, I don't know what the fuck Edgar Chairez even doesn't. I don't know why he's even in the UFC. Felipe Brunes kind of fucked up Joshua Van horribly. Kevin Borjas, he's just a complete fraud. Before that, he fought like a random guy. He got in on a takedown, took Joshua Van to a split decision. But he hasn't fought a good grappler in so long. He's fought Cody Durden, who's a very good grappler. But once you get into the rankings, Cody Durden's grappling is just not good. Ray Surya also a very good grappler, but once you get into the rankings, the grappling is just not good. Brandon Royval just didn't shoot a single takedown against fucking against Joshua Van. Tatsuro Taira has fought much better grapplers than Joshua Van. Brandon Moreno got grapple fucked. When was the last time you saw Brandon Moreno get grapple fucked that horribly? Pantoja was able to do something to him, and even then Pantoja got dragged to a split decision. I mean, the only reason Brandon Moreno won the last 2 rounds of his fight against Lonnie Kamna was because he held him up against the cage. Last time you saw, this guy submitted Figueiredo, dude. Figueiredo was able to get in on a couple takedowns against him. Brandon Moreno, got outstruck for the most part against Royval, but he got in on more takedowns against Royval than Royval did. Brandon Moreno for the most part is a very good grappler, and his style is very similar to Joshua Van with the boxing and everything. But Tatsuro Taira, man, the knee feint of Tatsuro Taira is gonna come in clutch very, very horrible. Tatsuro Taira will use that knee feint very beautifully. I'll tell you this. I'm not that confident in my pick in Tatsuro Taira winning by submission, but I will say Tatsuro Taira will use that knee feint to set something up. Maybe it's a straight right, maybe it's a takedown. That will happen. I've done enough tape study to know that Tatsuro Taira is gonna feint that knee because Joshua Van's gonna stand low. He's gonna stand in a boxing stance. He's gonna stand bladed. Joshua Van's Tatsuro Taira is gonna throw that knee, and then he's gonna throw a takedown right after it, or throw straight right behind it. And Tatsuro Taira, he's longer. He has more reach, which hasn't really been a problem for Joshua Van. He has fought longer guys for most of his career. But it's gonna be a problem when you're gonna fight a grappler. And Tatsuro Taira is fucking strong. Unless the way for Joshua Van to win this fight is to defend takedowns, and if he gets taken down, which probably will happen, to scramble as hard as he can. That's what Brandon Royval did, and that's why Tatsuro Taira kind of gassed out. But that's still a Hail Mary kind of thing. Your win is dependent on Tatsuro Taira gassing out because you scrambled so hard, And the problem with scrambling is if you don't have a good enough, his jiu-jitsu is not on the same level as Brandon Royval. And if he tries to scramble and he tries to do some fucked up shit, he will throw himself into a submission. When was the last time you saw Brandon Moreno's back just taken and his face down on the fucking canvas getting smashed in? He pretty much beat I'll say Brandon Moreno's striking did look pretty good Brandon Moreno is a good striker, man. Lonnie Kavanagh is just a different level of striker, but and also Lonnie Kavanagh like completely obliterated his leg. I think I think Taira should get it done by round 3 submission. No matter how much I break down this fight, I'm gonna pick Joshua Wan at the end of the day. Now finally, it's time for the main event. Khamzat Chimaev versus Sean Strickland. Now, at first I was like, Sean Strickland might actually win this. There is a chance Sean Strickland wins this. There is a very real chance, which is he wins the later 3 rounds by completely gassing out Khamzat. The main issue with this is if Sean Strickland fought with a bladed stance, if Sean Strickland didn't stand so narrow, this fight would actually be interesting. But it's just the fact that Sean Strickland fights so narrow, with such a narrow stance, and he stands so tall, it's just gonna open up the takedown for Khamzat. The striking is not even close. The gap between their striking is much bigger than the gap between the wrestling and the grappling. I think Sean Strickland should be able to get back up to his feet at some point, unlike Dricus du Plessis. I think Sean Strickland should be able to defend at least a single takedown, unlike Dricus du Plessis. But dude, Dricus du Plessis took down Sean Strickland a couple times, dude. He was looking decent in the grappling against Sean Strickland, which is concerning when you think about the fact he's fighting Khamzat Chimaev. The way for Sean Strickland pressures the shit out of his opponent, that's exactly how you beat Khamzat. If you pressure Khamzat back to the cage and you are in the later rounds of the fight, Khamzat will fuck everything up. He will shoot naked takedowns and they're going to be very easy to defend. That's what Kamaru Usman did. Once you back him up, once Khamzat backs up, his shots out in the open aren't that good. His shots out in the open are good. But what I meant was, if he's backed up and he shoots and you have a lot of space to back away and sprawl, that's good. But when you're back, Khamzat's whole game relies on pressuring you to the cage. And once you are backed up to the cage, you're gonna hit a sprawl and you're gonna try to defend the takedown. But you can't move backwards, and he takes advantage of that and gets to a body lock or just straight up picks your legs up and puts you on the ground. But what he fucking did to Dricus du Plessis, even without using the cage as much, was really impressive. So I have a feeling even if Sean Strickland, the way he fought Anthony Hernandez, he pretty much has to do the same exact thing to win this fight. But comparing Anthony Hernandez to Khamzat Chimaev is something, dude. Anthony Hernandez's best win is fucking Roman Dolidze. Khamzat just schooled Dricus du Plessis, 50-44 Dricus du Plessis. And I think this fight will be much closer than DDP because, for one, Sean Strickland will have an answer for the grappling, a little bit of an answer for the grappling. 2, Sean Strickland will pressure the shit out of, try to pressure the shit out of Khamzat. 3, because Sean Strickland isn't gonna accept bottom position as much as Dricus did, he's kind of gonna gas out Khamzat Chimaev, and all of these factors combined will lead to Sean Strickland winning at least one round of this fight. Later on, maybe round 4 or maybe round 5. Or maybe even wins 2 rounds. Maybe wins both round 4 and 5. But I think Sean Strickland should, Khamzat Chimaev should get this done by unanimous decision. The same exact way he beat Dricus du Plessis. But this time, when in the later rounds, Sean is going to start stuffing takedowns. Sean is going to start getting back up to his feet. He's going to start pressuring Khamzat. And because of the pressure and because of the fact Khamzat is going to be a little bit gassed out, those 2 factors aren't going to be in his favor. And when he shoots, Strickland will be able to sprawl and he will be able to defend the takedowns of Khamzat and kind of piece him up on the feet a little bit. Pretty much the exact same way he did Anthony Hernandez. So, but there is a difference between how he fought Anthony Hernandez. One thing he did against Anthony Hernandez that won't work in this fight is he let Anthony Hernandez he made Anthony Hernandez try to close in the distance. He would back up, he wouldn't necessarily pressure Anthony Hernandez super hard. He would let Anthony Hernandez kind of lunge into range and then slip and counter pretty much. That won't work against Khamzat. Because Khamzat just isn't going to throw strikes on you. Kamzat is just gonna straight up shoot a blast double. So if you think the Anthony Hernandez fight, pretty much he has to fight the fight that he fought against Hernandez with more pressure. But even then, the fact, his stance just doesn't help his case at all. He's gonna have to switch up his game a lot. A lot. He's gonna have to switch up his game very much. And I think Kamrat should get this done by unanimous decision. Like, should win like most of 3 rounds or 4 rounds. Strickland maybe wins one of the later rounds. It is what it is. And I'm really excited for this fight. The reason I don't sound as excited and all that is because, for one, I'm kind of sleepy right now. I really need to go and fall asleep. Two, my throat is kind of dry and I really can't speak loudly or scream whatsoever. But yeah, those are my picks, and I guess that's it. And I'll see you guys in the next one.